Hi, I'm Geneva Long, CEO of Bowlus, and today we're going to talk all about rivets. Let's flip this camera around and get started. So the construction of a bolus is similar to that of an aircraft. We use many of the same techniques, materials, down to the panels of the 2024 aluminum, which is the optimum alloy for applications requiring a high strength to weight ratio. And as with aircrafts, rivets are used to hold those aluminum panels together. There are about 5,000 rivets on a single bolus. And that's more than just an aesthetic touch. These metal fasteners are responsible for the strength of the entire travel trailer. And that's because Bowlus has a monocoque shape. We use two different types of rivets. We use some Olympic rivets that secure the skin into the shell, or the skin or the shell into the frame. And they're simpler and less strong than buck rivets, which are responsible for the tensile strength of the bolus. And that's all the rest of the rivets that you see on the bolus. So to install Olympic rivet, its head is inserted into the panel above the frame, and a hand riveting tool sends a jolt of force through the rivet, and the head of the rivet flares out, secures the panel to the frame, and then the round side that's visible from the outside of the bolus is then shaved down and polished to a shine, which gives it that seamless look. Now, structural bucked rivets, which are the rest of the types of rivets on the bolus, require an even greater level of skill. And the buck rivets hold the panel of aluminum together, and all the strength of the bolus comes from the joining of the two. And the bucking of that rivet happens with one person on the outside with a rivet gun and the other person on the inside with the buck. The gun acts like a hammer, setting the rivet to expand on the inside and securing it in place. Now, this sounds pretty simple, but there's an ideal strength to weight ratio with buck rivets. So the flattened part of the rivet on the inside of the bolus needs to be exactly 1.5 times larger than the stem of the rivet. And the tongue stith has to be carefully stabilized because if it slips, it can dent the interior. And the technician on the outside of the travel trailer has to be able to distinguish exactly how many taps of the Rivets machine gun rivet gun will result in the rivet that's within the proper spec. So this is just one of the many complex processes that go into making a bolus. Please go over and check out my full video on how a bolus is made. This is a very different process from all other travel trailers and even all other aluminum travel trailers. So other aluminum travel trailers are using soft rivets to match the strength of their lower tensile strength aluminum sheet. And these are the same types of rivets that you might find on an article of clothing, maybe a belt, or something like that. Now, compare that to the aircraft grade rivets found in a bolus, which require skilled craftspeople to build them. And on one hand, the softness of the other aluminum travel trailers manufacturer rivets makes them much easier to buck. But again, that's because they're not structural. And you'll have to remember that the whole bolus's skin is what gives it that structure. The frame simply holds the positioning of the skin. So like I said, feel free to go check out our full video on how a bolus is made for even more details.